Well, yesterday, as you will know, the Chancellor of the Exchequer produced, as expected, a pretty boring budget. Caution was Nigel's watchword. What made the headlines, however, is that there will be no extra duty on tobacco or alcohol. Now, this is how Today newspaper saw the Chancellor this morning. In fact, cigarettes are cheaper now in real terms than at any time in the past 20 years. The health lobby, of course, are outraged. I just thought, do you think they should have put the price of cigarettes up? Well, it's not. I mean, I'm no Robin Day, but it's not as clear-cut as you think. Well, let's hear both sides of the argument. The campaign director of the Freedom Organisation for the Right to Enjoy Smoking Tobacco, otherwise known as Forest, that's Chris Tame, and from the British Lung Foundation, consultant physician Dr. John Moore Gillen. Now, obviously, Chris, you must rejoice because tobacco's been left alone. You regard that as a victory?
We're very pleased indeed. As far as we're concerned, it's one in the eye for the health fascists and the busybodies.
Now, fascist is a terribly emotive term, because when you say fascist, you know you're going to turn people against other people. I mean, fascism's a bit strong, isn't it?
Well, I don't think it is. I mean, one of the prime axioms of fascism was that the individual's happiness wasn't really his own concern, that his health and his life wasn't his own to live as he saw fit, but to be dictated to by the state. And that's what the busybodies and the bullies in the anti-smoking movement want to do. They want to tell him what to do. They want to tax cigarettes out of the reach of the ordinary working person. And we think that's health fascism.
You're a fascist?
Absolutely, if that's what he means by fascism. I think that the problem is everyone's got the right to choose. That's what you're going to say, really. Everyone has the right to choose. But if you are going to choose, you're going to be in possession of the facts. And I think that the multi-million-pound advertising campaign on the one side and a bland warning on the side of a packet on the other hand is not knowing the facts. It's like the judge saying to the jury, you know, what's your verdict, when all they've seen is the newspaper headlines.
But in fact, the independent opinion polls show that the majority of the people in the country know that there are health risks associated with smoking. That's not really the issue. There are health risks associated with eating cream cakes, eating fatty foods, drinking, even going jogging. I'm just recovering from a torn Achilles tendon from my daily jogging. The question is, should people be treated as adults? Should they be treated as free people, left alone to take into account those risks and live their lives as they see fit? We come down on the side of individual liberty, and I'm afraid the anti-smoking lobby comes down on the side of paternalism, of state power.
I think you've got two problems there, haven't you, really? First of all, there's the right to make your own decision. As I said, you've got to know the facts, and people don't know the facts.
They do.
There's no...
The polls show that. People are well aware that there are health risks associated with smoking. I mean,
now,
it's shouted at them in the newspapers every day and on the television.
Okay, but
people are aware of that.
Sure. But in exactly that, I don't think that seeing those sort of things actually brings home to you the full implication of what the health risks are. You and I both see headlines in the newspapers which say 55 killed in a plane crash. We're upset by it, but that's not the same as being there, as having a relative who's involved. Now, this morning, you were probably at your desk doing a very worthwhile job. This morning, I was having to tell a guy of 49 he's got lung cancer. Now, that was something which, if it were an occasional occurrence, might not be too bad, but I do it every day, every week. It's happening the whole time, and I don't think people realize things like that. If it said on the side of packets even things like half to two-thirds of smokers die before reaching retiring age, that would be closer to them seeing the facts. I'm afraid you're also skirting over the issue of the rights of other people as well, who are non-smokers. First of all, there's a problem of passive smoking. If you're married to someone who smokes, you've got a 30% increased risk of dying of lung cancer.
I must interrupt you there. I mean, the fact is that the anti-smoking lobby have hyped this passive smoking issue out of all proportion. I mean, even the Froggatt report of last year admitted that none of the evidence that it surveyed unequivocally established the real dangers of passive smoking. There are other scientists who argue that the risks are trivial, if they exist at all. Even Professor Julian Peter and Sir Richard Doll, leading cancer experts, had to admit in the British Journal of Cancer themselves that the risk was trivial, that it was a matter of personal opinion. I mean, these are your own supporters.
The risk is trivial,
yes.
but it's actually there. I mean, I think you and I
If at all. Other scientists say if at all.
I don't think there's any dispute in informed circles.
There is a dispute in informed circles.
I mean, you and I see things very differently. I mean, I am perhaps fortunate that most of my salary doesn't come from the tobacco industry as yours does, so we're bound to have a rather different viewpoint.
If I can It's typical of the anti-smoking fanatics that they always raise this issue of motivation. I took the job 5 months ago because I believed in individual liberty. I have these views not because I earn a salary professing them. I had the views and got the job afterwards. And I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not worried if the tobacco industry goes out of business tomorrow. I'm not a smoker myself.
You don't smoke?
No, I'm a keep fit fanatic.
Do you smoke, Doctor?
No, I don't.
Did you ever?
Yes, I did.
Did you ever smoke?
Never smoked at all, and I don't drink, and I go jogging every day, and I do karate.
But you see, the emphasis of your argument really is that people should have a freedom, but people can't have a freedom to do everything they want. For heaven's sake, we're not going to allow people go to football matches and beat each other silly, are we? Because that's what they want to do.
This is a pleasure which some people enjoy. I mean, it's not a pleasure that I enjoy, but lots of people have pleasure. I'm sure there are people in this audience who are doing things which other people disapprove of. The question is, the question is, are the busybodies to stick their noses into our private business?
If it's antisocial,
where is it going to stop?
If it's antisocial, I think probably that people in authority have a right to say, look, what you're doing is damaging yourself and other people.
Well, I would dispute that you're damaging other people. But where are we to draw the line? I mean, are we to sort of make eating garlic illegal, or having BO, or looking at people in a funny way?
But BO never killed anybody.
You know, but your smoking isn't going to kill someone else. The issue is, I mean, driving a motor car, you know, increases your chances of injuring yourself and dying. There are lots of activities which imply risks. The question is, if we're adult human beings, you know, the tradition of this country is that adult human beings are left alone to live as they see fit. And to me, this is the fundamental moral, ethical, and political issue at stake.
If it didn't influence other people, that's fine. But you tell that to a kid under the age of 1 who's twice as likely to be admitted to hospital if his parents are smokers and if his
well, again,
that's,
I mean, as you must be well aware, that research is under great dispute about passive smoking and affecting children.
So
but it's always the excuse of people who want to interfere in the liberty of adults to raise the emotive issue of children. I mean, when what they're really after is interfering in the lives of ordinary adults.
Yes, I know, but I mean, the point is well taken. I mean, there's no question that surely statistics show that it's among the young people that there is a growth in cigarette smoking. Now, you can't support that. Are you saying that it's perfectly all right for them to take up smoking cigarettes?
We don't advocate smoking. We say that smoking is an adult activity like a lot of other things.
You don't say it's a dangerous activity?
And at the age of... No, we say that the health risks are well known. I mean, we're not here. There are plenty of other people that making people aware of that issue. We don't deny that there are health risks associated with smoking. We just say that people should be left to be free to choose. Whereas the anti-smokers want to use the law, they want to tax cigarettes out of the reach of ordinary working people. And we just think this is tyrannical and unjust.
But as I say, but personal freedom can be carried too far, can't it? I mean, you know, if it's your particular urge to want to tear your clothes off in the street, or even relieve yourself in the street, are you saying you should be allowed to do that because that's what you want to do?
I mean, we're not advocating lawlessness, certainly not. But we're advocating that people go on enjoying this perfectly legal habit.
Are you against compulsory seatbelts in the front of cars?
Well, I mean, we're a single-issue organisation. I'm not really here to talk about that.
No, but I think it was you that actually raised the issue, the wider issue of personal freedoms. Yeah. Do you allow your children, would you like your children to travel in the front of cars on the street?
Well, I don't have any children, but I probably would provide them with a seatbelt if I had it. But again, I think this is a matter of individual free choice. I mean...
The thing is, we're very different people, aren't we? I mean, you're someone who is actually employed as part of a pressure group to put forward a point of view. I'm a person who is not a politician, not an anti-smoking politician. I'm someone who, in common with hundreds of thousands of other people in this country, has to pick up the pieces. And when you do it day after day, day after day, day after day, it begins to get to you.
Yes, but and this by the time doesn't justify you interfering in people's free choices. I mean, there are lots of other behaviours.
Other people are having to pay for those free choices, aren't they?
Firstly, you know that people eating high-fat diets are causing themselves great risk. Eating cream cakes,
and what's
not
happening?
going
they are
jogging.
being educated, aren't they? They're being educated. And I think that at the moment, as I said before, a multi-million-pound pro-smoking campaign and bland warnings is not showing people the facts.
But people have the facts. We know they have the facts. Opinion polls show that the majority of people know that there are health risks associated with smoking. Who denies it?
It's a question of degree. I mean, there are health risks associated with running across the road without looking, but it's a question of degree.
Precisely.
I mean, people don't realise if you've got 1,000 young smokers, 6 of them on the average are going to die from road accidents, 250 are going to die early from smoking. You know, there are 100,000 people dying every year in this country from smoking-related diseases. And it is filling up our hospital wards, it's costing money, and people who are non-smokers are being influenced by it as well, both because they have to pay for it And because they're inhaling other
in fact,
cigarette
we dispute this issue of passive smoking, but let's not go on about that. But as for the cost factor, the fact is that the cost of smoking-related diseases to the National Health Service is £500 million per year, and the tax revenues brought into the government by smokers are in fact nearly £6 billion per annum. In other words, the smokers are paying for the rest of us, the non-smokers, many times over. They're more than paying their
way. I wonder
way.
who's paying for the 50 million lost working days every year. I mean, there's quite a bit of productivity loss there. That's going to go up to 5 billion.
That's nothing.
Well,
Very contemptuous statistics.
Well, it's quite obvious. I mean, even when I asked for the audience's opinion, they were split. And there's no question that you two will never come together because you're disputing every single figure that the other puts forward. But hopefully the truth will out. And we wanted to have both sides of the argument. We certainly got it. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's Chris Tame and Dr. John Moore Gillen. Now, in a moment, we'll